So now I'm going to show you my strategy and what I did with this client and my own websites. And I'm gonna show you the steel one in the bootstrapping section. But right now I'm going to talk to you about filmmaking. My site was about filmmaking, film school secrets, which was super fun. And most SEO is working on sites like Buck Steel, a steel building company. If you're working for a dentist, for a plumber, a lawyer, you're going to have to learn to be creative with your link building. It's not always the easiest thing because the companies are, they can be more boring. But the first thing is brainstorming blogs that would be a good fit. Now, we have a company that builds steel buildings, and I said to myself, okay, there's not too many blogs about steel buildings. It's kind of boring, but they also build barns, airplane hangars, RV garages, commercial retail buildings, churches. It's not so sexy, but if I think outside the box, the customers are horse lovers, pilots, plane owners, RV owners, travelers. So I decided to look for blogs, let's say on RVs, to see if we can write an article about proper RV storage, and airplane blogs for articles about storing your airplane. And we actually also reached out to some horse blogs about horse barns and riding arenas, not horse brands, horse barns and riding arenas. So finding blogs that accept guest posts. There's thousands of blogs on the web. Now, people writing these blogs, they don't always have the time or the interest to write their own stuff. So you use Google to find relevant blogs that do. So I typed in RV blog guest post and I found this one, Frugal RV Travel. So Google your keyword plus the keyword guest post. You could also do your keyword plus write for us. And variations on that. And you're often going to either get the page where they tell you how to submit a guest post or other guest posts, and then you can contact them directly. Now, there are courses and ways to get better at both outreach and blog writing, but in general, I just try not to be a douche. I actually read their blog, I find something positive to say, I read the instructions. So like for these guys, fitnesshealthwellness.com, they tell you articles have to be unique, informative, how long they need to be. So, that's a good sign, because if they have a lot of guidelines, it means that there's a barrier to entry, and it means once you do get published, it's usually much more valuable versus a site where everybody gets published. Now, if it's your own site and you know the niche, it's very easy. I'm a filmmaking nut, so I just reached out to a guy with a blog and I asked if I could write an article. I didn't even know what guest posting was, and I contributed these guest posts to nofilmschool.com, and in the last couple years gotten me 8,500 visitors and a lot of sales of my course. So, if it's your site, like you're going to be doing when you build your own site, it can be a little bit easier. If it's a client who's like a plumber, that's when you have to get a little bit creative. This isn't the most dazzling email, but it was genuine enough, where I said, my folks are retired. I wish they would travel more. I work at a steel building company. Ways to store your RV. And I just was very conversational and not a jerk. And you saw what she wrote back to me. I've not been generally accepting posts because they've been too focused on self-promotion. But you seem genuine and your topic is interesting. So boom. We wrote an article, we got a link back to the site, and that's an $80,000 a year skill, my friends, and it's not that hard. And I say that because that's what you should be getting paid eventually for this. Now, there are a lot of companies still underpay their SEO people, but also you can do freelance like I'm doing. I'm doing freelance, and I'm getting what is really a full-time wage to, I don't go into the office or anything, to work when I need to work. But, getting the link back to the site, that's what link building is. And it was really started with a relationship and offering value to the blog owner. So, once you find a number of sites you want to post on, I suggest making a spreadsheet and researching them. For the bigger sites, it can be helpful to start commenting on articles first to warm yourself up to the blog owner, even on a smaller site. But on the small blogs, it can be easier because, these people, they're just normal people. But bigger blogs, kind of like they're like the prettiest girl at the dance, they're getting pitched a lot. what you want to do is research. Go to the Open Site Explorer and check out their domain authority. So like, one of the sites that we got in touch was RVT, Frugal RV Travel. They're great. They're above 30. They've got links, social presence. Even if a blog is 15 to 20 domain authority, it's okay because you want a bunch of links from real websites. I bought a couple of links to test them. They said, well, we have great guest posts from our private blog network, and they were just crap. 12 and 10, and then these articles look like the websites. You're probably not going to find sites like this. They will probably be real sites, but if you see a site that just looks sketchy, where it's just a mishmash of articles that were just designed to build links, I'd stay away from those. So, like I said, when you reach out to people, just think of how you can offer value. I said, hey, my name's Seth. I'm with a company called Buck Steel. I'm writing about providing a guest post. A lot of our customers are RV owners. We want to know if we could write up a useful post on how to go about storing your RV. Guy writes back, that would be awesome. Only original content, but yes. Do you have any videos? We'd really love to have you. So just write them a nice article and think of a cool article to pitch the people. Being a link detective is fun too, using Open Site Explorer. Check out the competitions link and follow them from site to site. I found that Armstrong Steel was on this thing called the metal directory, so I went there and I said, well, this is much more relevant directory. Let's add our site to that. Posting on general blogs. There are sites that have many different categories, like this one, Internet Billboards. It's not terrible. It's good. It's not as relevant, but it's still pretty good. We got an article on here, 4 benefits of using steel in construction, and it's a legitimate. This is how you do it on a big site, by the way. You have to write a legitimate article that looks really legit. And there's other links. They're linking out to the National Association of Home Builders, and this one links out to like Reuters or something, and then we're right there. So you always want to kind of buffer your article with links to legitimate sites, and have your link to your site be one of those links. So it's not so obvious, not just one link to your site. So, they has a good domain authority, well-written article with appropriately placed exact match anchor link, which, as I was saying, from now on, all of our links are going to be, branded. Like we have one right here. Let's see this. And I'll tell you a little bit about that. We actually paid to have these guest posts written. We outsourced it. But you'll see the link here was our company name. We stopped doing... But see, here's another one where the other link out is to howstuffworks.com. So, they got a link to this really respected site, and then your site, it looks very good for your site when you're writing your articles. So here's, like I said, like lifehat.org/contribute. You can go there and you can submit an application. One I like is blogcritics.org. It's a big site, big authority. I'd never heard of it. You can sign up to write. You have to submit writing samples. Once approved, you can write articles about whatever you want within reason. When you're an author on a site like these, like Blog Critics or Lifehack or Internet Billboards, there's 2 places for links. There's within the articles and in your bio. The craft of inserting links into your articles, they can't stand out. I'm repeating myself here, but I just want to reiterate it. So read the Steel article. You're going to see there's only 3 links, and 2 of them go out to big popular websites. Your article has to be legit, and your link has to flow under the radar. It has to be to a legit site. So, like I said, I did one on dynamic stretching. The first link was to Fox News, and then the next link was to our website. And then there's the one I just showed you on steel. 70 million tons of steel goes to a science or a news website, and then there's our link. So linking is done in WordPress, or it can be done in your Word document. Again, it's where you just basically take the word, you hit the link button, and you put in the URL. And for many blog posts, you're going to get a link in your author bio like we did right here. So you understand that you need to build a natural link profile from a variety of sites with varied anchored. You understand how to research your competition using Open Site Explorer, and you understand how to find blogs that accept guest posts and how to reach out to them and how to include links to your site in the articles. And I'm gonna do either a separate video or just have some links below here with more links to more websites that accept authors, ways to find places to guest post, and even some opportunities. I didn't put it in here, but buying guest posts. It's not exactly buying a link. It's basically paying a service to have existing writers who write for blogs to publish articles like the ones we just spoke about with links to your site. And that's actually what we did with with this one. This is on a website called Archie Lovers. It's all about architecture, and we paid to have this author write this article that included our link. And that's actually, and sometimes I'll show you some of the options you can get on some pretty respected sites, but it can cost you a lot of money, or you can put in the work to learn how to do it yourself. Or there's companies like this one I'll recommend where this was only like $60, and that's actually a really good deal. Actually connecting to real bloggers writing real articles that have good information puts you ahead of many firms charging $10,000 a month. As for writing the articles, there is a site called guestblogging.com, which is run by a former editor, and it's all about how to get your articles published on the most influential websites yourself. And you really can do that. I've always had luck just being real with bloggers. Many bloggers are just normal folks who don't know anything. You don't know their blog even has high domain authority. But other big sites like Forbes, Huffington Post, etc., they get pitched all the time, and learning how to stand out to their editors can be valuable. John's course is highly recommended, and getting his certificate is actually recognized by many editors. I have a link there, and this is where he says you ever want to write for sites like Huffington Post, Forbes, or Lifehacker, and he's pretty good at what he does. 90% of link building nowadays is outreach to other blogs. It's really about quality over quantity. If you contribute quality content to relevant blogs, there are other strategies too, and I'll give you the resources, but my film school site still gets thousands of visitors and it's ranking high because of a few quality guest posts. And again, I'm gonna, at the end of this section and in other, you can always ask me on the forums too for suggestions. I would really want to give you some more ideas, but if you just start with the, just Googling like fitness right for us, and I did that, you'll see there's a lot of, you see all these things where you can write for these magazines. And then I wanted to show you so this is a friend of mine, Isabel, who she had this website and she let it I don't know why I've told her to, it's because she's not using this particular brand anymore. She moved herself over to her name, but she wrote articles and was featured in these articles from like entrepreneur.com, Lifehack, Chris Bialu, which he's a huge blogger, Uncollege. So she didn't even really know anything about SEO, but her website has 25 domain authority, which is really good for just a one-person blog who wasn't even trying. But she got like a link in from entrepreneur.com that had page authority of 63. That's huge. And this really came in from, I'm going to have her actually give some advice because she was featured in this article about 14 successful entrepreneurs. And that's just because she was a hustler. She was just out there promoting her project. Now, again, if you're working for a plumber, it's not as easy to do. But that's another thing. This guy, Kamanzi, I don't even know how I think she may have actually introduced me to him. But when you network and meet people who are bloggers, you build relationships, and you can get, there she is, right there. She's got a link here. Do the inner work first. Believe that it's possible and start from this. She just gave a little quote, and she got this great link, and she's featured as an expert, which is great for her personal brand. Again, not always what you're doing with SEO, but if you run your own site, you will see that as a great idea. The other thing is there's a service called, let me see, I don't know what my next slide is. Hold on a second. Okay, before I get in there, I'm just gonna talk to you about Help a Reporter Out. So if you go to this helpareporter.com, and if you go I'm a source, you basically get put on this list, and what happens is that journalists who write articles, they always need sources, like that article you see with Isabel. This wasn't a random journalist. This was somebody who she happened to know, who's a very popular blogger himself. So I'm on their list, and basically what happens is that twice a day you get an email like this. And they have categories like biotech, healthcare, business, finance, energy, tech, entertainment, and media. And if you're a business, like sometimes they have things like Los Angeles-based retro furniture needed, in need of nutritionists, cosmetic surgeons, need a pro tip from a travel agent, a business credit expert. So this is like if you had a client that's a travel agent, you're like, oh my God, let's get, quick, get in touch with the reporter, and you could be featured in a news article on a major magazine. And that's Help a Reporter Out. Very good service. So next, link bait. So instead of going right to other blogs, you try and get other people to link to your content on your site. So let's say your client's a plumber or a dentist. Well, you can make cool stuff. You can make a video or infographics, and infographics are a big thing. They take boring information and make them more engaging. So like here's somebody who did one on the history of plumbing. And you take boring business, add interesting facts, statistics, pretty pictures, and this is something that it's not like everyone's going to share this, but someone would definitely be more likely to share this on Facebook or put a link to your blog for this page than just like get a plumber in Tallahassee. And once your graphic is created, you can share it on social media, on Reddit. You can reach out to bloggers using the same techniques, but just say, hey, listen, I've got a great infographic on this that your readers might like if it's relevant. And also, this is a great website called Upwork. Upwork used to be called Odesk. And, we're already logged in here. I'm going to log out. But basically, I don't want you to, these are our personal emails. That's kind of an annoying feature. It always puts that little thing at the top. But basically, you create like I need horse enthusiast. I needed some writers, so I just posted, and all these writers apply to me. You can find people to freelance. I've got, let's see here. You can find freelancers who do web and software development, who are designers, do graphic design, are writers, do marketing, and this is actually a place where you can get hired when you're starting out. I found this great freelancer here who, Sasho, he's a graphic designer in Eastern Europe, and he does beautiful, like he made us this banner, and he costs like $16 an hour. It's amazing. But you can also hire people to make infographics for you too. So creating something cool is also a way you can, as I said, contact relevant blogs. Instead of asking to write a guest post, you can ask them to check out your cool infographic video, whatever you've made. And again, it's good to know in case you work at an agency. Agencies tend to do this a lot with the infographics. But in my experience, guest posting has really been the most successful thing to do. So more about linking. Think about the pages you're going to link to on your site. And again, as you get more into being an SEO expert, you're going to learn more and more about this. Now, there's the home page, and that should have a lot of links. But natural linking is to inner pages. So think about sites like Wikipedia, New York Times, etc. They have millions of links, but it's all to individual articles. And this advice is from Neil Patel. And I have a link again to his article about, it's called, he said, site-wide link distribution. So one of the most big common mistakes link builders make is to point everything to the home page. It looks really unnatural. You want to have links. You do want to send a lot to the home page, but you also want to send links with Film School Secrets, to the main page, filmschoolsecrets.com, and also ones like to NYU. And I haven't really done this with my site. I got lazy. But you definitely, I should be build a few links to the NYU page right here. And you want to do that with your clients. So writing the blog posts, there are some great articles on Digital Marketer about writing quality blog posts. And there's a great article by Christy Hines. She is a freelance writer. You can contact her or even hire her to write for you. That's the other thing. These writers, if you can't write, you can hire a writer really cheap. I actually hired, is it in this account? Let's see. No, I think it was my other account. I hired, let's see here, I'll show you. So basically, this is a no-follow link, but I'm going to show you this. Actually, you're going to see this link again, but how to train your dog to socialize. So I basically paid this woman like $30 to get a link to the site that I built as a demonstration for this course, actually. I really don't like this site, by the way. I hate shit jumping up like that. But this is examiner.com, and it's a very high authority site. And she was an author there. It's an 88 domain authority site. So I got in touch with her on Upwork, and I paid her like $30, and she wrote the article for me. So that's something you can always outsource your writing. But it's good to learn how to write yourself. That's going to, obviously, if you're hired by an agency, you're not going to outsource anything. You're going to be the one doing the work. So Digital Marketer has a great article called Blog Post Template, and it teaches you how to write a blog post. Like, blog writing it's kind of like factoid writing. It's got to be engaging and punchy, and usually it has like numbers in the title, 10 ways to this or that, the top 5 things you should never say to your mother, things like that. And this is all part of, now they're calling it content marketing, which is really what SEO is now. SEO used to be, because remember, it was all about finding these websites and building these links, so there were like robots and techniques, and it was all these technical, geeky people. But now it's really for writers, and that's why I target English majors with my course here, because I'm like, dude, if you can write, you can do SEO and PPC. It's much easier to learn how to do SEO, like the basics, than it is to learn how to write a good article. So the basic idea is to make compelling articles, know your audience, and the good news is you can still do well with simple articles. Our article with 5 tips on storing an RV, I think, let's see, frugal RV travel. Sorry, I know why it didn't save that in the cache. But anyway, my article is, I didn't write it, my boss wrote it, because I basically said, look, just write an article. And all it is just a tip guide on 5 things you should know about. It's useful, it's helpful, it's not super engaging, but it's a link. And that's what's important. I'm basically going to be, this is a strategy I recommend, is we have a site that has too many exact match links from crappy sites. So I do have in my back pocket some links I'm going to get from like 60 and DA 90 sites. And there's also ways you can pay for that, and I'll show you that if you want to. I think it's better to, if you're going to have a career in SEO, it's better to become an author on one of these sites. But my strategy is I'm getting a bunch of smaller links. So like we've got this RV blog, another RV blog. I've got one from a little pilot blog and some horse blogs, and they're not very high value, but they're starting to come in naturally. Google will see link here, link there, and they go, okay, these guys are, this is happening naturally, and these are small links. And then in a month or two, boom, we build the higher authority links. But I don't do it right away because it's unnatural. Let's see. Okay. And the real power, it is really powerful. You come from writing a post that people will share and comment on. And I don't know if I showed you. If you type in, is film school worth it? Now my article is much older. This is hilarious. Those guys finally. My article used to be #1 up here. And this is actually a friend of mine. And he used to promote my course. That was in the golden age. Now, this is the thing. Also, you want to keep your stuff up to date. So basically, but back in the day, I had this article on, is film school worth it? And what was good about this link is this link had a lot of power because it had 122 comments. And it doesn't say it was shared a lot. I'm sure it was shared more than that. I wrote another article for these guys. Let's see if we can find it. Second. So you can do, I'm just going to go and Google myself. Seth Himes, no film school. There we go. So this page, this was just a helpful tips on directing, and it was shared like 1,000 times on Facebook. So this adds a lot of juice to your articles too. There's also services you can, I'm going to get to that, but when people comment on and share the guest posts that you write, it increases. So, I think I keep doing this stuff, and then I forgot I already have that there. But that's why niche and related blogs are great, because if you can get a conversation going. And again, is film school worth it? It didn't have as many shares, but it had a ton of comments. And what I'm saying is Google actually, so I'm just going to make a note of this because I didn't mean to gloss it over as like a side note. Juicing your links. So there are actually, you can purchase services to get shares and authority to your links, and I'm going to talk about that at the end because it's a little advanced. But forget about the purchasing. Let's just say, Google. The reason why is Google sees social engagement and uses it to rank. It increases the power of the link. So finding blogs to write for. Again, it's best to get to know your niche via Google or Facebook and find blogs yourself. I figured out that like No Film School was a big filmmaking blog. It just was kind of something I found through social media. But there's a couple links: Effective Business Ideas, Web Marketing Saga. I got some big lists there. And then I'm gonna keep adding in the resource section. I'm just gonna put as many of these as I can find, even lists to paid services that I think are reasonable and decent. Don't just go crazy and give a ton of money to some guest blogger. Test out a service, see if it works, but doing it naturally yourself is the best way. So Google is your friend. Last thing on this, strategizing blogs to post on and contribute to. Let's see, what did I say? Oh yeah, blog categories. So, you may have, again, a boring business, but there's usually blogs about lifestyle, fitness, parenting, health, tech, do-it-yourself, handiwork, finance, business. So let's say you got a dentist or a chiropractor as a client. Chiropractors are great clients, by the way. You look for health blogs. Chiropractors, they always love hire chiropractors because they're doctors. They're a high authority guest poster. Plumber, if you're working for a plumber, you can have them do an article and do stuff about do it yourself or home improvement or crafts. You can do an article on productivity, stress relief, saving money, entrepreneurship, hobbies. You don't have to write articles exactly about what your business is. It's stuff that can be related. Just like, our article here is, about metal buildings, but it's geared towards, helping the person learn how to store the RV. Obviously this is more direct, but like I said, I think the best example is like dentist or a chiropractor talking about health. Like if you're a chiropractor, then chiropractors pay a lot of money for SEO. But if you're a chiropractor, you can do an article, write an article or have somebody write an article on good sleeping habits, or diet or nutrition. Even though it's not really about the spine, but it's related to what they help people with. Just like if someone's a paint store, they could have like interior design tips. So you just want to be creative. Think outside the box. I hate that term, but I just said it. But just think creatively.